Look, I see matches in the kingdom. I see hunters slaying demons. I see fire on this earth coming down like Hiroshima. I see prophets rising up, prophesying scriptures cut. I see Christ, he coming back. Man, he black, he look like us. I see it. I see it. I see it.
Check, check. Shalom, Israel. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Israel. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept, the late show on Thursday night. We are your host. My name is Captain Shem.
Officer Micah.
Officer Iran.
Officer Malachi.
Hey, so like we've been doing, we appreciate your feedback, the new format. It's been about 4 weeks now. We start off, we go with Officer Micah with a watchman report. We come back and do the first half of the show, if you will. Then we go to Bible verses. We got Officer Malachi filling in tonight for that. Then we go to our break, come back with Kingdom Music with Officer Iran filling in for Officer Matt. Shout out to Officer Matt doing big things in his truth. And then lastly, we do the second half of the show and come back with some tough love with the Lord Back Attack. So with that, without further ado, Officer Michael with the Watchman Report. Take it away.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ blessed. Not going to hold up the great show. Let's get right into the report. First article, please, IT. And don't look at me. George Floyd protester shot in face with rubber bullet scores a victory in legal fight with Fort Lauderdale. That title alone just tells you right now we are in the land of our captivity. Next article, please, IT. Shot in the face with a rubber bullet. Lord help us. We got to keep the laws. Warren police officer charged with punching assaulting suspect inside City Hall. This was a young brother, man. He got punched in the face by the police. Next article, please. Keep the commandments. We killed more of them than they killed of us. That tells you right there that the scripture tells us that we ain't supposed to kill. Closing arguments begin in federal racketeering trial of Chicago's Goonie gang involving 10 slayings. Our people are, man, we are shedding innocent blood out here in these streets. We need the Most High. Next article. Last but not least. Come on. India is not as U.S. ally. India is not a U.S. ally and has never wanted to be. This concludes the Watchman Report.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Welcome back. All praise. Hey, make sure y'all check those articles Officer Micah put up. It's like a blitzkrieg, a quick inspiration for you to check the news, what's going on throughout the world. Don't just look at it. Follow up. Check the topic he's talking about. Now let's look at the what do they call it? The thumbnail. Who has that?
All right. So you got the unjust NATO. All right. Then you got BRICS to the left going into the expansion. All right. Because there's many more countries joining up with BRICS. It's BRICS Plus now. BRICS to the right.
All right. Simple A. I got to get on Officer Mikhail because he keeps putting the same V formation. I've said it twice, but I gotta inspire this guy to do better. He does a good job overall, but so unjust NATO and the BRICS expansion. We've covered this multiples, but it keeps on. New articles and news is coming up weekly. So without look, right now, everybody, if you could, I know it's a late show, I want you to subscribe to Israel United Christ IUIC New Orleans. Subscribe to our not webpage, our YouTube page. Share this video, comment, like, hit the bell notification, so when we get a new video, content comes up, it'll notify you. We need your help in growing our page. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the first article under NATO, unfair NATO or unjust NATO. And I believe it is. So shout out to our tech team. What I'll say this is that we've evolved to the point where now, even it said episode 97, we order our media 1 through, so it's easier to find. And then we can jump around. So I want to start off with, actually, I want to do number 2 and then go to 1. All right. And by the way, a couple of you have made comments to us, and we pay attention, that sometimes, we make fun of brothers who can't read. Look, we don't mean any, it's when you're part of a family, you can joke with each other and nobody take offense to it. For example, I say resident Lardback Gabe. Gabe used to be this little twig. When he came in the troop, he was a little twig. Now he ballooned up to 265 pounds. So he is here. He's a resident of this city. He's a resident Lardback. So don't get offended. Like Malachi sucks at reading because he went to New Orleans public school. So Marrero. So it's not his fault. So blame it on the West Bank public right. So just we love each other here. There ain't no problem. All you lard asses that get offended, go eat a Twinkie and also join the National Association for the Advancement of Fat People. All right, number 2. Who is this guy? Everybody knows he's related to the famous John F. Kennedy. All right? This is a heavy what do they call this thing? TikTok. It is a short video that it's going to show you that even Democrats understand this thing. Play.
Of the Ukraine war.
The Ukraine war is easy.
Pause, I'm sorry, real quick. So this is a podcast, probably the most famous podcast on social media. It's a guy named the Joe Rogan Experience. He gets tens of millions of hits. He's a very inquisitive host who used to be a referee and a martial artist, and he actually has some pretty cool shows, and he has some guests on there that he's able to kind of dig into, and he's digging into Robert Kennedy, I think, Jr., all right, which is related to the Kennedy families, dates back to JFK, the president who was president during the Cuban Missile Crisis, who got assassinated in all the movies about JFK. So this is his family line talking about what he would do and how the Ukraine war could be ended quickly. So start it again, please.
Get out of the Ukraine war.
The Ukraine war is easy to get out of. In the Minsk Accords was a settlement, which was an agreement that Russia, France, and Germany had all agreed
Pause.
to.
I want you to rewind it again. I want you to pay attention because later on in the show, there's one of these countries, we talked about it months ago, that the EU is not all on the same page. We talked about the protests that are taking place in Europe because they do not like the fact that the European countries will side with NATO, which is run by the United Snakes of America. Play it again. Let's see if you catch it.
Get out of the Ukraine war.
The Ukraine war is easy to get out of. In the Minsk Accords was a settlement, which was an agreement that Russia, France, and Germany had all agreed to, which would have left Donbass as part of Ukraine as autonomous regions, and that NATO would stay out of the Ukraine. And that's what the Russians wanted. We have no business putting NATO in the Ukraine. We promised we'd never do that. We committed to it, and we've repeatedly violated those promises.
Stop. So remember, it says that the United States has repeatedly violated those promises. just like they did with the Native American Indians. They're not the Native Americans. The peace treaties, and they broke every one of them. Play on.
People in the White House who want this war. They've said it repeatedly. Even President Biden has said the purpose of the war is to depose Vladimir Putin. And I'm not excusing Putin. Putin is a thug, a monster, a gangster who illegally invaded and didn't need to. But we need to take responsibility for the
First and
provocation.
foremost, this is where he starts to go up. He said illegally invaded. Well, NATO has encroached. In 1991, remember we covered they had a different agreements. They broke their policies and kept going further and further east towards Russia. So I wanted just to show you there's something that he says about the Minsk treaties. The Minsk, I can't even pronounce the damn word, treaties. We're going to come back to that in a moment. All right. So remember, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which is related to JFK. He's saying that this should have never happened because France, Germany, and there was another country created a agreement that would have stopped this war from happening. All right, so go to number 1, please. Too long of a pause. Y'all, when you hear a pause, y'all say something, please. Damn. Yes. So listen, here, check this out. I'm going to show you how much these Caucasians cannot stand black people. And this is how you know what you're about to hear is this is in the diplomacy world. This is like unheard of what has happened and what you're going to hear about. Unheard of. I hope this is the right one. It's the one about the plane. They stop them, right? Watch this. Play it.
South African president travels to Russia without security team. Poland blocks security guards. Hungary refuses use of airspace. Ramaphosa security head fumes levels racism charge on Poland.
So I want you to understand, I'm going to try to put this, and before we play on, can you imagine if the president of Canada were to travel to a different country, they stop his presidential jet, and they make him and his security team get off, get searched, all these, and they have diplomatic immunity, and then they make the leader go by himself to the rest of the trip. It does not happen. They do not do that to anybody, but they do it to black people. Now, some of these brothers, let me say this, some of the Africans are not our brothers, but the 12 tribes of Israel are scattered all over. Give me Isaiah 11, verse 11. Shout out to Captain Gedaliah. First of all, Deacon Isaac, Captain Gedaliah, and all the captains and officers, and of course, soldiers out there who are pushing this truth throughout the four corners. Shout out to Deacon Joshua. Shout out to my brother, Captain Zeph, Captain Abiel. All the brothers are over there in Ecuador doing big things, all right? So this is why we cannot say that Africans are not Israelites. There are Israelites in every African country. Throughout all over the planet. Isaiah 11.
Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day.
That's why I got to be careful. I can't say that these Africans are not our brothers. It's not true. Some of them are. Some of them are not. Many of them are. Read on.
That the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
So his people are going to be left as a remnant, right? If you pour a bunch of, let's say you pour a bunch of you pour a bunch of marbles all over the floor, and you think you grab them all up, but then you look over there and there's some over there, there's some over there, there's a remnant left over. That's the way the Lord left us. Read on.
Which shall be left from Assyria.
Assyria, come on.
And from Egypt.
Now he lists multiple countries, and they're not in just the Western Hemisphere. These are countries all over there. Read on.
And from Pathros. Mm-hmm. And from Cush.
That's right.
And from Elam. And from Shinar.
Hey, the Elam is the East Indians. Our brother Deacon Isaac and Captain Joel and Captain Arel just came back from India. Right. That's Elam. Read on.
And from Hamat.
Come on.
And from the islands of the sea.
The islands of the sea. Read on.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations.
That's talking about Jesus the Christ, the Messiah. And right now, yes, we show the image of Christ according to the Bible, but the ensign that's being raised up is these brothers are hearing the word of God. They're hearing Christ. Matter of fact, give me Revelation chapter 19. When the ensign goes up, right? Yes, we show the image of Jesus the Christ being the black Messiah. But the ensign that is going up is Christ. Christ, the word of the Lord. Read 19:13.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 13.
This just came to me.
And he was clothed with
Because you might say, well, what about people who don't have a TV? Or we don't actually get there and they don't see the image of the Messiah. Or they are blind, physically blind. How would they receive the sign, the ensign? Read on.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood.
This is talking about a man. This is the Jesus the Christ, the man. Read on.
And his name is called.
Remember in Isaiah 63, he went and he threshed the wine press. Because Christ's garment is dipped in blood because he was doing a lot of killing. When he comes back, he's coming back for war and vengeance. Indignation of the Lord. Read on.
And his name is called the Word of God.
So the Messiah, the ensign, he will be lifted up in these lands, in the land of India, in the land of Australia, believe it or not, in the different parts of Africa. Read on.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses.
Right, so this whole movement is about God's army. And there's an army in heaven, and he's raising up an army on earth, and you see us raising up. And IUIC, the purple and gold, look, we at the forefront of this whole thing. All right, so all praise to the Lord.
Hey, Cap.
Yes, sir.
What you said is real heavy and went over a lot of brothers' heads because that's James 1:1. The 12 tribes are scattered abroad because we got brothers and sisters still to this day say Israel is not in Africa. Israel is not in India. Israel is not in China. The scriptures just say there's going to be remnants in all these different places. So that's what the scriptures say. You can't refute it. You can't go against it. Thus saith the Lord.
That's right. That's right. Get me Deuteronomy 4:27. And like I said, brothers, please chime in at your liberty. All right.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 27.
Check this out.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left.
So if you think about if he's going to scatter us among the nations, today you have many different nations. But to proving to you, it's not just talking about one part of the earth. He's going to explain to you where these nations are. Read on.
And ye shall be left few in number among the heathen.
Yep.
Whether the Lord shall lead you.
So he's going to lead us in all different places throughout the earth. Deuteronomy 28:64. This is just a review.
That's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64.
This is important because when you see things like this happen to the African dignitaries, this is a curse. This does not happen to white doggone diplomats. This is unheard of. Read on.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
What?
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
No, there's going to be some people that he don't scatter you among.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
So what the hell are them brothers talking about? We're not going to be in Africa, like Officer Iran said. We're not going to be in Pakistan and Africa. That's BS. Some of the Israelites are going to be over there. Read it again.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
All people. Read on.
From the one end of the earth.
Man, you're going to be way over there in the Western Hemisphere. Read on.
Even unto the other.
You're going to be way over there in doggone Russia. Over there in East India. Over there in Malaysia. Over there in Mongolia. We're going to be all over the four corners of the earth amongst all people. Even in India. All right? Is that it?
No. And there thou shalt serve other gods,
right,
which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
And some of our brothers serve Krishna and Vasti. What's the other one? The elephant nose, Buddha. All these different. Buddha's not the elephant god, but the serving all these different gods. All right. Is that it?
Even wood and stone.
Right, talking about wood is talking about the cross with Christianity, and stone is talking about Islam, the two world's major religions. All right, go back to that doggone. Please, I did go a little tangent for the ignorant brothers who think that we are not in Africa. Play.
South African president traveled to Russia without his security entourage.
Remember, this is listen real quick. This is the Hindu Times. They do not have this is just a quick news thing. So you're not going to get a normal reporter. Read on.
Around 120 security guards.
No, you read that wrong. He says 12, right?
Around 120 security guards of.
When you're a presidential deployment, you don't roll with 3 guys, Chuck, Bill, and Bob. 120 security guards. Do you understand? Like, this does not happen. Why are they doing this? Because South Africa is hosting the BRICS summit coming up in August. They are trying to shut down and just straight up disrespect these leaders. Okay.
You know what that's saying, Cat? That's like saying, yeah, you can come here, but understand this: you ain't got no power here. You
Also,
can't. What you
to
got?
your point, I remember when George W. Bush came to the Carolinas. When I tell you they had about 4 blocks like cordoned off,
Yep.
I'm talking about from snipers to you name it. You couldn't fly a paper airplane up in there. Everything shut down.
Hey, to your point, Officer Micah, I was on the highway when this happened. When Trump came to New Orleans, they had sheriffs. I'm like, what the hell's going on? They had sheriffs on I-10, which is the major route that passes through New Orleans into Metairie and Kenner, which is the bottom of Lake Pontchartrain. The sheriffs were moving people. We had to move our cars off the off-ramp because Trump was coming through. And they also shut down the 5G signals because I remember that day, my cell phone, until Trump went through, it would only operate in 3G. And then I said to the lady I was at an appointment, I said, is your phone active? She said, I can only get 3G. So they shut everything down. So for another president to go to just at a different airport, and the reason why they did it is because this is a NATO country, which is Poland, and I think it was Hungary as well. They would not let the security for this diplomat go through. Watch what I'm telling you. Esau, the so-called white man in NATO, is a evil organization. And this just happened this last week. Why is this not making national news? Play on.
Around 120 security guards of Cyril Ramaphosa were struck at Warsaw Airport in Poland.
That's a NATO country. Read on.
Polish authorities said that Praetorial security personnel had to permit to carry the weapons.
Had
no permit.
You
to
got to
carry the
understand
weapons.
something. If you have 120 security personnel accompanying a diplomat, a international leader, you are going to have security because you're protecting someone who is of great importance to your country. So they would not allow them to carry weapons, which that's unheard of. That they have a thing called diplomatic immunity. That's what it's called. And because South Africa is having BRICS, which is fighting for Putin to be able to come to this show, whatever the hell it's called, in summit. Thank you. Read on.
Due to unexpected delays and curbs, South African president visited Russia with a smaller contingent. Poland also reportedly barred members of Ramaphosa's security and press pulled to the plane.
So this was supposed to happen. You're supposed to stop in the international airport. Maybe they had to refuel, whatever the case may be. They said, oh, these niggas from South Africa coming through. Stop, get off the plane. They had to search them. They said no, they made it a big fiasco. Okay, this does not happen to white people. Okay, at all. And this should be all over. If this happened at the president of France, Poland, Hungary, the U.S., it would never happen to. Any of these countries, it would be all over the news. You don't hear about this, okay? Because they don't see black and brown people as human beings. They see them. You're not real diplomats. We do whatever we want. Okay? Play on.
Hungary, too, refused the South African plane to enter its airspace.
So it's not just one of these white countries. Hungary is in the same region as Poland. So they refused South African plane to enter into the airspace. So Poland's like, you niggas ain't doing nothing on the ground. We're going to check you and get you off the plane. And Hungary's like, you can't even fly above us, you damn blackies. That's what they doing.
Cap, they said D plane. They wouldn't let them off the plane. Like,
Right.
look, you niggas can't get off the plane here. Y'all got to stay on the plane and go somewhere else.
This is crazy, man. Y'all got to see this. But they go on to say they had to, I believe they actually searched and body cavity searched some of these guys. Watch, play on.
RT News reported. The incident has turned into of a full-fledged diplomatic row between South Africa and Poland. Ramaphosa's head of security accused Warsaw of putting the SA president, South Africa president, life in jeopardy.
So you got to understand, and if you look at it from a security perspective, right? If your job as the head of security is to protect the South African president's life and the mission, that's your mission, and they stop you from doing that, now what's to stop anybody from poisoning them, killing them, setting them up, planning something on them? And this is clearly a diplomatic trespass, and it would only happen to people of color, to black folks. Okay? Play on.
Major General Wally Rode also accused Polish government of being racist.
So if you're now, and you can explain this, Officer Micah, to become, and I'm not sure if it's the same rank structure, but I'm pretty sure generals in different armies are the same. You have different general levels. A major general is not a slouch. He is a career-oriented officer who makes it to a very high level. It might be a 3-star, I'm not sure, 2 or 3-star general that is able to, you're like right below a president in your status. You got to understand something. This guy is like, look, you stopping me from doing my job. Okay? What you got on that?
Major General is a 2-star general. So this guy's graduated War College. He's damn near pretty much a doctor of war at this point. So the guy's probably got more than 30 plus years of combat experience, military experience, you name it. He's the top of the almost top of the food chain. You got Lieutenant General, Major General, Brigadier General, a 2-star general. Yeah, he's no slouch.
So he's saying, and this is a guy that's highly educated, highly military trained. Mm-hmm. He's pointing out, look, so for you to accuse the whole government of being racist, and why would a major general doesn't have time to feed into propaganda? This is truly race. He's like, listen, I'm the security. You're not even letting me do my job. So they made him go on by himself, and then they detained his security forces because they illegally had weapons, which is BS because they have diplomatic immunity. I said it before. Play on.
Major General Wally Rhodes, security head of South Africa president.
Again, this is the Major General Wally Rhodes or Rhodes, security head of the South African president. Okay? Play on.
It never happened that we have stood opposite anyone with a diplomatic passport.
Can we rewind it? He's now going to drop some facts on you. We're going to pause in this article, this video for a minute, because Again, let me say this again. This is not us trying to start ish. This does not happen to Caucasian diplomats. It does not happen to Caucasian presidents. It just shows you that we are seen as less than human. And even, let's say, for example, it's proven that the president of South, it may not be an Israelite. It doesn't matter. They see us all as inferior, okay? And she may be one of our people. Play.
She was strip searched. It never happened that we
Hold up. He just said they strip searched. They strip searched someone from this diplomatic party. That doesn't happen. That's like, imagine Biden's crew coming through and let's say South Africa says you can't stop, you can't. Then if you do get off the plane, no, we're going to strip. These are people with diplomatic passports, with whole security teams that are just stopping because they're on their way to Russia. They have to stop somewhere. South Africa's way at the bottom of Africa. They got to stop somewhere before they get over to Russia. Let's see if we can hear that, please.
Strip search. It never happened that we have strip searched anyone with a diplomatic passport just to get us out of here. Right? Now, they say we don't have permits. We have permits.
Pause. So anytime you are going to fly into a place to either refuel or to whatever the case, the pilot made a certain number of hours you can fly before you have to stop. They applied, if you have a permit to land in Poland, you can't just say, oh, yeah, Chuck, we're passing through. Hey, we're going to land. They had to coordinate and plan it and get a permit as permission. They got all that before they landed. So again, it just goes to show you they're messing with them. Okay, this is clearly racist. Clearly, the guy's telling you. Okay,
Cap.
Yes.
I don't think people understand. That is what they call in here in Babylon, that is a general officer. I've been on posts, like on bases, when they call you to sons of God, you don't move. Like that's the type of, them dudes, when they speak, they make doctrine. Them dudes got serious juice. And for him to be speaking the way he's speaking, that dude ain't no slouch. I'm telling you right now, that dude is not a joke. Those dudes, like, they change rules for guys like that. And for him to say that, hey, I called ahead, there's a level of respect them general officers have. Like, they don't follow the same rules of other military personnel. Just so y'all know that. If he's calling like air traffic control or something, like, oh, who are you? I'm General such and such. Stuff moves. It starts to move real quick. So that dude's not a slouch.
This is crazy, y'all. And I'm telling you, this should be, if this ever happened to a Caucasian president of any nation, they actually might go to war. Okay? Let this happen to Biden. First, it's not going to happen to Biden because the FC, they would call the Air Force in. South Africa they are truly on the receiving end of just blatant disrespect, which is racism. It goes back to the title of the show, the Unjust NATO. This is unjust. And you're going to see that from a diplomatic level, even these white people are going to have to speak out and say that this is wrong. But guess what? Nothing's going to be done about it. Okay, you might get an apology in 12 years from now. Play on.
Now they say we can't bring a copy of a permit, we must bring the original. Now some of us have original permits, right? The embassy here printed permits because I thought it's not necessary to have the originals here, right? Now all of a sudden we must have originals. They are delaying us, right? They're putting out the life of our president in jeopardy because we could have been.
They don't understand the distress that brother's in. That's like, okay, this is our commander in chief. He's our top dude. And they are able to just put their hands on him. You can't go up and walk and touch President Joe. You can't. You cannot just walk up to him. Hey, what's up, Joe? And you can't do that. That's why this dude he's on 10. Like, yo, they just told him his help couldn't come. His protection can't be there. Now you can just walk up to him and do what y'all want.
Right.
What I was gonna say was that's equivalent to like for Israel to understand. Ain't nobody gonna just walk up to Bishop Nathaniel. His security gonna be in arms. Like, no, indeed, that don't go like that. That's the same concept.
Right.
But
Well, let's flip it because Jake don't even understand the level of organization. But let's look at if you cannot just walk into let's get a famous what's a famous 500 Fortune company like a real give me a couple in Amazon, Jeff Bezos, right? You can't just walk into Amazon and say, listen, I need to sit down. I need to talk to Jeff Bezos. I need to change some of these things that's going on. You can't do that. You can't even walk into a McDonald's is a big restaurant. You can't walk into the McDonald's and speak to the manager of that one restaurant and change things, let alone change things in the corporation of McDonald's. The level of disrespect and that's happening is it shows you. Let me go back to this. After September 11th, and when the United States went to war on terrorism, there was a push in Washington, D.C. and New York for us not to go to war. An international cry, and the United Nations basic was like, don't go to war. And the U.S. went anyways. So this is the same thing. This is the arrogancy of the U.S. using these other puppet governments like Hungary, like Poland, to do their bidding. Why? Because they're upset that South Africa is allowing this BRICS summit coming up in 2 months that is slowly but surely, we're going to the second part of the show, is changing and destabilizing the U.S. dollar. Okay, we went over that last show. Okay, let's finish this up. We got to move on.
And I posted a video as well with Trump arriving in Poland.
Okay, we're going to check that out in a minute, Joe. Check that in a minute.
However, Poland rejected all allegations and issued a clarification over the matter.
Right, so this guy, this major general, is just making it up, right? No. So Poland, this is what Esau does. They deny, they say they didn't do it, and then they put their spin on things to cover up the evil that they do. That's the way that they do. That's the way they do things. Typical Esau move. Okay.
Poland's clarification on security role. Ramaphosa's delegation chose not to disembark from the plane of their own accord.
This is what this Poland. The blatant disrespect. Play on.
The flight had been delayed after discovering dangerous materials and undeclared individuals on board.
Here's the thing. How would they know who's on board from a diplomatic party? How would they know that? Do they got cameras on the plane? How would they know that? It's their way to mess with South Africa. Any more?
Accusations against Poland of racism are being circulated in this case. This is nonsense.
Now remember, they also said it was nonsense when the African students tried to cross to get out of the Ukraine. Remember, they were med students and different students. They were trying to get out of Ukraine, and the Ukrainian officials, the security forces and the trains, were pushing black students off. And even the sisters said, well, surely they'll let women come on. They pushed the black women off the train. So Poland has a history of being racist. So it kind of makes sense. Well, if their government is racist, of course, just as the king is, so are his officers. Because Esau through and through, whether he's Polish Caucasian, German Caucasian, Dutch Caucasian, or American Caucasian, they are the seed of Satan. They are the evil, the wicked of the earth. All right? Understand that. Where we at? Yeah, let's move on. Iran has a video he said he posted?
Yeah, it's the 5-minute video. You can just, we're just going to go to the timestamp. It's 20 seconds, and then it's another at 2:39.
Is this recent? Okay.
This was actually, I think in like 2017, but this is when Trump was in office.
So we're going to show a comparison between the way a diplomatic is supposed to be treated. Is that what we're doing?
Correct,
okay.
correct.
All right.
So you see how Trump is, just to get straight to the point, when Trump arrived in Poland, you can see his men. You can see his men standing waiting on him. You can see his men closing the door for him, and you can tell an American between a Polish. Y'all got that yet? It's just showing you the difference. When, all right, go to like 20 seconds. This is Trump coming off his plane. 20 seconds. Go ahead, play it. Yep. Right down to the right. That's that 20 seconds. Okay, so y'all can see his men already with them. You understand? And then when you go to 229, you can see them put them in the car, put the first lady in the car. And that's all we need. But they did not do this with the president. Yeah, also Mike, you in the military, you can vouch.
You can see it on his hip right there.
Right.
Them dudes will tell you straight up, if our security ain't there, he ain't coming. And y'all can do whatever the hell y'all gonna do, but the president won't be there if his men ain't there. And they'll say, y'all don't want the hell with y'all. That's how they move.
This is going down. I'm telling you, y'all. If this happened to a Caucasian president, where you broke the party up and took away the job of the security to protect the life of their president, this could be grounds for a war, and nothing's going to be done about it. Poland has already denied it. They issued a statement, and it just goes to show you how black people are valued amongst Caucasians. This is not something we're looking to say. This is something that happened this last week. We're 2023, right? The world has changed, right? No, it has not. Okay? This is why BRICS is forming, because they're getting tired of even other white people like Vladimir Putin are getting tired of the European/Caucasian, American, NATO-led, G20-led white power structure. Okay? Where we at? Do me a favor. Get me number 3. Number 3. So this is right on point. So this is why isn't this talked about throughout the this is NATO's biggest military drill ever. And it's happening in the 4th largest economy in the planet Earth, Germany, and Germany is Europe's largest economy. Why is this not talked about? Why are we not hearing about this? Because the U.S. wants you to focus on Hunter Biden and Donald Trump and Andrew Tate going to jail for something that they're making up. They give you stupid sports. They give you the dumbest, most irrelevant, illogical news to follow. All while you get fatter and fatter with your friggin' precious fast foods and on-demand instant satisfaction, gratification. This stupid instant society. When real things are going on in Europe, play.
NATO is carrying out its biggest ever air drills in Germany. 25 nations are participating along with its newest member, Finland. Now, what is interesting about these drills is the timing. They come as Ukraine has started its much anticipated counteroffensive against Russia. So what exactly is the purpose of these drills and why now? Because the fact is, nothing about the Ukraine war has been decided yet. The Ukrainian counteroffensive that has been backed to the hilt by the NATO military alliance could be rebuffed by the Russians. And in the event Ukraine's counteroffensive is defeated, will NATO then decide to get into a direct confrontation
Pause. Stop. Here's the point. NATO is already in an indirect confrontation. Ukraine would have been completely done at 7 days after the war started. I'm just using that as an example. The reason why NATO you might as well say Freudian slip of the tongue, but really, the reason why the Ukraine is even doing anything is because all of the European Union's nations and the United States is supplying them with advanced weaponry, drones, and other things to fight on the Russian front. A couple of shows ago, they had a drone attack the Russian capital, Moscow. Officer Micah pointed out a couple months ago, remember they started to station Bradley tanks in the 82nd Airborne. This was months ago. So NATO is already in this war. But what he's saying is, after Russia takes out the Ukraine, will this NATO force actually now go and fight in Russia? And this is what, listen, we may see this in the next year or years to come. Play on.
Is this what NATO is preparing for with its military drills? Our next report gets you the details.
NATO is showing off its strength. It's carrying out its biggest ever air drills in Germany. 24 nations are participating in the Air Defender exercise.
Pause. Please elaborate on Officer Michael.
That is a cargo 130, a C-130 Hercules. That's U.S. made right there.
So a C-130, in Marine, we used to have to say, C-130 rolling down the strip, airborne daddy gonna take another trip. Basically, a C-130 is sung about in the U.S. military, meaning that when the C-130s come, you can haul all type of heavy-duty motorized vehicles. You can drop parachute out major supplies, rations. Right? Please expand upon that.
Sir. You got something at the back called a paratroop door. You can heavy drop Humvees out of the back of it. Hell, you can even put a whole LHS truck in the back of there and get it out of the back of there. Those are cargoes. They can carry a lot of weight. They call it the C-130 Hercules for a reason. It can transport a lot of stuff.
So when you see C-130s, they're not the ones that drop. Well, they probably could drop a bomb too. But when you see C-130s, they are not a South African plane. They're not a French plane. These are major military distributors that can drop vehicles. Literally, they can shoot out vehicles with giant parachutes and drop them where they want to drop them. You don't understand. This white man in America is planned for this for years. And you missed it. Pardon me. Energy drink. 24 countries are taking part in this NATO mass training in Germany. Why is this not being talked about? But they'll put China's, we shoot down a stupid hot air balloon with no weapons. That's all over the news. NATO has 24 countries in the largest NATO joint training exercise, and it doesn't make news? This is why we got to go to these weird-looking dudes on different medias, because they're going to tell us what the hell's going on. Come on, we'd love to be able to go to American media, get the truth. No. Okay, play on.
Japan has also joined as an observer. But the question here is, why is NATO flexing its defense muscle? Is it simply posturing, or is it really preparing for war? If Ukraine's counteroffensive fails, is NATO going to fight the war against Russia? Just look at the sheer extent of these drills. They'll continue for 2 weeks, around 10,000 personnel and 250...
Pause. So, this joint operation has over 10,000 personnel. 24 countries, 10,000 personnel. I want you to understand something. Do me a favor. I want you to look up the tank capacity for fuel of a Charlie 130, a C-130. The amount of millions and tens of millions of dollars that they're going to spend in fuel alone is astronomical. You do not joint train like that unless you are preparing to actually do what you're training for. Okay? See if you can get the tank capacity in fuel or jet fuel capacity for a Charlie 130, C-130. Okay? Go back and play that again. How many gallon capacity? They give a gallon?
Two 1,400-gallon fuel tanks and an internal 1,800-gallon fuel tank. So it's got two.
Two 1,400, 2,800, and an 1,800, right? So that's 4,200 gallons of fuel that a C-130 has. American-made C-130. American-made C-130. 24 countries, 10,000 personnel. Nobody sees what the hell's going on here? Okay, play on.
Germany. Hundreds of them are from the US alone.
I'm sorry, we wanted to get, it talks about hundreds, it says over 10,000 personnel, but then it talks about the number of aircraft. We missed that part.
If Ukraine's counteroffensive fails, is NATO going to fight the war against Russia? Just look at the sheer extent of these drills. They'll continue for 2 weeks. Around 10,000 personnel and 250 aircraft are in Germany.
Pause, watch it. I'm going to show you how slick that is. It's a lot more than 250. Watch this. Remember it said 10,000 personnel, and it said 250 aircraft. You remember that? Now listen to the next part. Listen. Come on.
The US alone. The exercises
it was directly in the pause. This guy talks, there's one thing about these international media, they talk so damn soft. They talk like you miss things. Listen.
Are in Germany. Hundreds of them are from the US alone.
Stop! Wait, rewind it again, man. I hope I'm not getting it wrong.
They'll continue for 2 weeks. Around 10,000 personnel and 250 aircraft are in Germany. Hundreds of them are from the US alone. The exercises will play out at 4 sites across Germany and 1 each in the Netherlands and in the Czech Republic. Nearly 2,000 flights are to be carried out over the North and Baltic Seas. The drills will play out at 4 sites across Germany and 1 each in the Netherlands and the Czech Republic. It began with an air show in Wunstorf.
Pause. How many different flight patterns did it say? Did y'all hear that? 2,000 flights. You got to imagine the amount of jet fuel alone that you I'm just logistically, because if you plan 10,000 personnel, that means they all have to leave their families. You have to pay these personnel. They have to fly, all have to deploy to Germany from their respective countries. Think about all the fuel that it takes to get your men over to Germany just to train. 24 countries, 10,000 plus personnel, hundreds of them from the U.S., 2,000 different flights. Okay? This is the beginning of planning for World War III. Not the final outcome, but this is leading up to, all right? Play a little bit more.
Cargo and refueling planes, workhorse aircraft. These planes have played a crucial role in sending weapons and supplies to Ukraine.
Pause. You see, they're telling you.
Right.
They have, the NATO forces have played a crucial role in sending supplies and weapons to the Ukraine. So when they're talking about is NATO going to get involved in the war, they are already indirectly involved. The question is, when will NATO actually, you'll start to see French, Germany's other actually start to fight and see their planes going and fighting in different excursions with Russia, okay? We'll get ready to go to Bible verses real quick, but
and y'all got to think about it. How long did Russia do military exercises before attacking Ukraine? Because that's what they was doing. They was doing military exercises on the Russian border, or no, on the Ukraine border, before attacking Ukraine. They say, hey, no, we just doing exercises. We're not up to nothing. We about to get ready and retreat and go back home in a little bit. Next thing you know, bam, Russia is in Ukraine. So think about that.
That's called, what they call them is field training exercises. What you have to do is you have to exercise your equipment to find out your war readiness capability. So what the U.S. is doing, and inadvertently, and people ain't paying attention, they're testing their equipment out to say, okay, we got to make sure we maneuvering right, and at the same time, we're going to train up these guys so they know how to maneuver in combat as well. So they're just exercising their equipment, ironing out all the rough spots so they can eventually go to war.
Now, real quick, it mentioned in the video, it mentioned about Japan is being a onlooker or supporter from sidelines, right? Go to number 4, because when you look at how Japan is there, Germany there, France is there, the people do not agree with their governments, meaning the people of Spain and Italy were protesting. The people of Hungary were protesting. Why? Because when the U.S. did the sanctions against Russia, and they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, the prices of everything in Europe skyrocketed. The commodity market took a spike. Now everything's more expensive. And furthermore, what happens is the United States is not as affected as Europeans because Europe is right next to, they can get they're landlocked to Russia. So what happens is the United States of America is setting policy for Europe, and it's hurting the European people. But the NATO powers have to side with the U.S. because the U.S. is NATO. They run everything. Okay, this is what BRICS is, the next part of the show. BRICS is now an alternative. And even one of the most powerful countries in Europe is looking to possibly be invited to the BRICS. We're going to get into that. Number 4, this is the Japanese people saying what most, I would say many Japanese feel about Japan's role in NATO and supporting what the U.S. is doing. Let it play, the whole thing play.
Protests against Japan, defense budget expansion, and closer ties with NATO. Citizens and lawmakers rally in front of the Japanese House of Councilors.
Pause real quick. There is audio. I'll listen to it. Can we hear it? Or? It is? Turn it up anyways. Maybe I sent you the wrong video. Turn it up, please.
NATO will have an impact on Japan's politics and diplomacy.
Okay, turn it down. You're right. Turn it down.
The NATO and the United States are moving in the same direction. As a member of Asia, Japan should seriously consider its foreign policy and how to exchange with European and American NATO countries. I believe that Japan's current moves to get close to the NATO in diplomacy and military affairs are abound to produce serious negative outcomes.
So pause. Citizens understand that are aligned with NATO, like Japan, like Hungary, like France, like a lot of these economies in the EU, they realize that NATO is being a part of them. That alliance is hurting the people, and the people had huge protests. We read about the last 6 months. We had shows on it where hundreds of thousands of people were gathering against NATO. We had shows about that. Okay. Last one before we go to Bible verses. Last one. We're gonna close out early tonight. Number 5. This is a headbanger. So remember we talked about how the U.S. is in Taiwan, and Taiwan is an island off the coast of China, not too far away, right? This is something that this, again, should be in every news outlet in the United States and all white media, and it's not. Because guess what's going on? China is in works in the final closing processions to set up a new military base in Cuba. Why isn't this being talked about? Play.
Offhand, off-the-cuff comments about Chinese President Xi Jinping being a dictator, once again heightening tensions between Washington and Beijing. Also adding to those tensions is Beijing.
And actually, this is the mainstream media, but it gets mentioned a couple of times. It should be on the nightly news. It should be a huge concern, but yet they're focused on right now. All you hear is Donald Trump. You hear about Hunter Biden. You hear about the same rhetoric, the same media feeds. Read.
The Wall Street Journal. Beijing plans a new training facility in Cuba, raising prospects of Chinese troops on America's doorstep. Discussions for the facility on Cuba's northern coast are at an advanced stage but not concluded, U.S. intelligence reports suggest.
The Wall Street Journal reporting that discussions for the facility on Cuba's northern coast are at an advanced stage but not concluded, U.S. intelligence reports suggest. Joining us now is Michael Vickers. He was the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and the former Assistant Secretary of Defense for Special Operations, Low-Intensity Conflict, and Independent Capabilities. He was also an operations officer for the CIA and a Special Forces soldier and officer, and also at the State Department. You've done it all.
Thank you.
And your new book, congratulations, is just out, Memoirs of a Life in Intelligence, Special Operations, and Strategy. Great to see you. Congratulations, Michael Vickers. I mean, you have had such a career, and we want to talk to you about a lot of this and continue to. But let me ask you first about Beijing. You know, you've seen these flaps before. So Beijing responded furiously. We're told that the language used by the foreign ministry today was the most angry that people had seen in years. How big a problem is this? Will they be able to move on past it?
Well, I think both sides are trying to cool down relations a little bit after, you know, a lot of tension. But certainly it wasn't the best timing. But, you know, I've known Tony Blinken a lot of years. He's a good diplomat.
But undercut by the President of the United States saying, you know, the hard part right out loud, you know, what you're not supposed to say.
Right. During these, you know, summits or near summits like this.
I'm still waiting for them to mention that China they just glazed over that at first, and now he's talking about his accolades and about the meeting that the the U.S. Foreign Affairs for China goes over and talks to the president of China about what's going to happen and the U.S. relations with China. The issue is that there's a base being talked about. The whole point is they have the audacity to talk about this, but then they have bases in Japan. They have bases in North Korea. They have bases all around friggin' China. And then the talk about China getting a base in northern Cuba, it is, oh gosh. When the U.S. has bases everywhere, they have nukes that they can aim right at China right now. They have Seoul, Korea. They have Okinawa, Japan. They have all the different places. They have Malaysia. They have the Philippines. They have bases throughout South Korea. What else? What's another one? Help me out. Oh gosh. Do me a favor. Pull up the U.S. bases in Asia. Just came to me. I have to touch on this before we move on. I have to touch on this.
They're the biggest hypocrites. That's what it is. They can do what they want, but you can't do what you want.
And they're not going to tell you about it either. They're not going to say, yeah, you know, we got bases all over the world.
Let's just look at this. The number of bases. We touched on it before, but if the U.S. is allowed to have bases everywhere on the planet Earth, and China can't have one, now listen, it is what. Do I want the damn Chinese army in Cuba? Not necessarily, but it doesn't matter what the hell we think. The U.S. is not going to have it. I'm going to tell you right now. The U.S. is not going to have it. The U.S. is a bunch of damn hypocrites. If we don't got it, we're going to move on. All right, well, look. Check it out. Stick around. We're going to go to the Bible verses, and we're going to come back after Kingdom Music. We're going to show you that BRICS is continuing to develop. All praise to the Most High. Thank you for staying with us. I know a lot of you support us. Thank you for being faithful listeners and supporters to us. Many people have said this kind of dry going over with European, what's happening in Europe, but this is the things that are leading up to World War III. So with that, stick around. We're headed to Officer Malachi, with the Bible verses. Take it away.
Bring it out, they don't like that. No cap, we ain't lying, we ain't fly, yeah. A roaring lion crouching down, they don't like that. The tribe of Judah, watch us do this, we gon' fight back. Yeah, your pastor know we lying, talking about he know the scriptures like a butcher, so I keep a knife. Pull it out and cut him with his... Check. All right, Shalom Israel. Filling in for Officer Mikael with verses. That's my officer right there. Shout out Officer Mikael. All right, so listen. If you got kids up, they got cursing in this video. This is a disclaimer, all right? So if you got kids, get the bad kids out the room like Bishop be saying, all right? Play that video.
Man, we out here at the graduation. How the fuck somebody done pulled up and killed one of the graduation boys on his fucking graduation day? And look at all these people. We out here ducking. They done shot 2 people. They shot some parents and every fucking thing out here at Huguenot graduation. They got the little boy out there stretched out. And this is fucked up, man. That's fucked up. Y'all need to raise our churn battle. Y'all need to raise our fucking churn battle. Because it ain't no reason why we got black men out here dying after they done fucking graduated. This shit is fucked up.
All right, so that's why we're here to teach the Bible. This is Bible verses black on black crime. This is a prime example why we need God's laws, all right? First, let's get the law. Give me that in Exodus chapter 20, verse 13.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not kill.
That's a law that the Israelites, we must keep. It says, thou should not kill. Here it is, you got children graduating high school, and yet you still got to worry about dying, 2 dead, 5 shot at a graduation. The law says thou should not kill. We must return back to the laws of God and start keeping his commandments. Give me 1 John 3 and 15. Give me 1 John 3 and 15 to continue to go on into this. We must return back to God's laws. Go ahead.
The book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 15.
Uh-huh.
Whosoever hated his brother is a murderer.
It says, whoso hated his brother is a murderer. We do this as a people. Read.
And ye know that no murderer had eternal life abiding in him.
God said, ain't no murder have eternal life abiding in him. If you a murderer, you're not going to get the kingdom. That's why God's law says, thou shalt not kill. We must apply this as a people. Give me Hosea 4 and verse 1. Give me Hosea chapter 4 and verse 1.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 1.
What are we going over? Black on black crime. And why we do this to each other. Read.
Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel.
Who? You children of
Ye
who?
children of Israel.
We are the children of Israel. Black man, you are, hold that. Give me the Psalms 82. Children of Israel. Black man, wake up. You the gods of this earth. Native American man, you the gods of this earth. Hispanic man, you the gods of this earth. Read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 6.
Come on.
I have said, ye are gods.
Ye are gods. We are the gods of this earth. Read.
And all of you are the children of the Most High.
We are the children of the Most High. Hence, children of Israel. Read.
But ye shall die like men.
It says, but ye shall die like men. Why are we dying like men? Because we neglected God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Go back to that Hosea 4.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 1.
Come on.
Hear the words of the Lord, ye children of Israel.
Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. Go ahead.
For the Lord had a controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
The Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, where the children of Israel are. Go ahead.
Because there is no truth.
Because there is no truth. What is the truth? God's laws. Read.
Nor mercy.
Come on.
Nor knowledge.
Read.
Of God in the land.
Come on.
By swearing.
By swearing.
And lying.
And lying.
And killing.
And killing. Swearing, lying, and killing, because there's no knowledge of God in the land. Read.
And stealing.
And stealing. All of this is a direct breaking of God's laws. Come on.
Committing adultery.
Come on.
They break out, and blood toucheth blood.
And blood toucheth blood. Black on black crime. All right? So it's high time that we return back to the Most High God and stop breaking his laws. All right? So that's been Bible verses with precept upon precept. Thank y'all for tuning in.
The streets to bring it out, they don't like that. No count, we ain't lying, we ain't fly, yeah. A roaring lion crouching down, they don't like that. The driver Judah, what to do this, we gon' fight back. Yeah, your pastor know we lying, talking about he know the scriptures like a butcher, so I keep a knife. I pull it out and cut him with his war.
IUIC TV, where we are recreating the narrative for the black family. As the Bible says, where there's no vision, the people perish. The media have been vehicles that have conveyed destructive images of God's children, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Not only are we in the streets, but we are on the airwaves and networks, compelling our people to come back to their heritage.
Yo, we go the distance, across the waters, teach our people, this is a mission. 12 tribes worldwide, this is redemption.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Most High in Christ bless. I'm Officer Iran. I'm filling in for Officer Matthew with Kingdom Music, all right? So go ahead and play that video for me.
Always keep the feast in remembrance, praising our God with a song when we're present. Glorious scars like a chain with a pendant. Spirit of joy I receive, so I'm sending. Spread it to my bros, that's my fam. Rejecting the truth, then you know we can hide. You know what's my circle, the gold and the purple. React on God's laws, yeah, it's more than just verbal. So just raise your hand, Christ is coming down to save the fam. Remember the days of old, Christ is coming down to save your soul. I know the saints must roll, be patiently waiting though. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, the earth will glow. I said the earth will glow. The earth will glow.
Yeah. The earth will glow. This is a new day. We've come a long way. I was unhappy, but now I'm happy. I know my place and where I stand. I now know who I am and where I need to be. I'm filled with joy, the bloodline of a royal priesthood. 1 Peter 2:9. Who would have believed it? The earth will glow. You can't stop us now. We're taking over. And when Christ returns, and it'll be over.
So just
raise your hands. Christ is coming down to save the fam. Remember the days of old. Christ is coming down to save your soul.
I know the saints must roll, be
Patiently waiting though.
Thy kingdom come,
That will be done. The earth will glow. I said the earth will glow. The earth will glow.
All right. So look, that song was fire. All right, that song was fire. So listen, Israel. We have to stop. Give me 1 Corinthians 15:33. This is why music is important, because we need to watch what we put in our spirit. All right, we can't just be listening to worldly music. We got to start listening to righteous music. That's what Israel must do. That's what we must do as a people. Read that real quick.
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 33.
Be
not deceived.
Right.
Evil communications corrupt good manners.
Evil communications corrupts good manners. Now give me that in Samuel, 1 Samuel 16 and 23. Because when you listening to your drill music, when you listening to your Cardi B's, your gorillas, gorillas, that's the name. When you listening to these people, you start to get thoughts in your head. You wonder, like, damn, what is thought of fornication coming from? Damn, what is thought of hatred coming from? We just the brother just did something on murder. Like the brother just got murdered at his damn graduation. More than likely, they was listening to that music. I'm about to go ride on them, go slide on. We gotta stop that. That's corrupting our kids. It's corrupting our youth. All right.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 23.
And I want to say this too. We was this previous Sabbath, we went to we did some fly missions. Then we went to this. It was like this kid festival thing going on. It's for the youth, but they had the foul music playing for the youth. For the youth, I'm talking about throw the behind in a circle, drop it like it's hot, slide on them, ride on them. But this for the youth. And that's why Israel is making this righteous music. This is why, right here, read.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 23.
And
it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took an harp and played with his hand.
So when the evil spirit is upon Saul, David started playing music. Why? Read.
So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him.
Sirach 40 and verse 20. This is why the evil spirit departed from him. Read that real quick.
That's the book of Sirach, chapter 40 and verse 20. Wine and music rejoice the heart.
So music rejoice the heart. All right, so Israel, get in the spirit. Listen to original words. You got music coming out, album after album, song after song. Y'all start tuning in. Y'all put away the foul music. Put away the Lil Nas X's. Put away the NBA Young Boys. Put that stuff away. All right, because that's defiling the heart. Start listening to some joyful music. Start listening to some Israelite music. Start listening to some truth music. All right? We got Sons of Thunder. We got The Elect. We got multiple artists from London, all over. So tune in, Israel. With that, I say shalom.
Yo, we go the distance, across the waters, teach our people, this is a mission. 12 tribes, worldwide, this is redemption. Yeah, this is redemption. This is redemption.
All right, shalom, shalom. Welcome back. We have very little time, y'all. Let's get right into the quick second half of the show. Pull up the maps of NATO, and I want to show you BRICS, excuse me, which are number 12, 13, and start with 14, then go to 12 and 13. Let's look at the world map so we get a perspective. And then we're going to go. We have only a couple articles to go to show you what's going on with BRICS. This is really a review leading up to August 2023. We showed you what they did to South Africa. They stopped them unjustly, a diplomatic convoy with the president. They stopped the security. They broke them apart and made the president go on without key members of their security force. That's like breaking up the Secret Service. A portion of them couldn't go with Donald Trump or couldn't go with Joe Biden. That's what we just witnessed, all right? World map. So it's a review. So we have, if you could take your mouse, Gabe, you're right there with Brazil. So BRICS is B for Brazil, the largest economy and land mass in South America. Shoot over to Russia. Clearly, not a large population, but the largest landmass with an abundant supply of natural resources. Okay, and they border China, and they border Ukraine, and they border Kazakhstan, and they border Mongolia. Look at the size of Russia. BRI. Go down to India. India is the second most populous country in the world. Almost 1.4 billion people with a huge economy. Let's go to C for China. The largest exporter of goods in the world. Look at your tag, look at your toys, for your children, look at your books, look at anything in your house, your cutlery, anything. Most of it is made in China. And they have the world's largest population. Let's go to South Africa. South Africa. This is where the 2023 August conference or summit is going to be held in South Africa. Why are we going here? They just flew, scale back out the map. They flew from South Africa. They were going to Russia, right? So it makes logical sense to stop right above north. Go due north, right? See Poland? And then they had to fly over Hungary. Wouldn't it make sense you would generally stop there before you shoot over to Russia, right? So we just witnessed what happened with Unjust NATO, and those countries align with NATO. So now, let's transition to the map that shows the BRICS countries that are already seriously interested, and then show the ones that are looking to get involved. We've gone over this 2 different times, but I want the audience who are faithful or maybe new listeners to know. We already did that. Thank you. Okay. We ask a lot of our tech teams, but they get hell. Okay, now, so let's just look at the map of the orange. So the orange are countries of major influence that are looking to become part of BRICS. And guess what? Today is June the 22nd. In less than 2 months, there's a strong possibility that these countries are going to be part of BRICS. Why the hell is this not all over every media outlet? Because again, the United States of America wants you black people to fall asleep. They do not want you to look at real news. Trump is right when he says fake news, fake news. He is 100% right. Okay? So let's point to some. Go to Argentina, South America. The second largest landmass in South America. Also, Mexico should be on this list because they were talked about on the other one, okay? Algeria, probably the second largest huge country in Africa. Senegal, is that Nigeria? Nigeria is the most economically powerful other than perhaps South Africa, pardon me. Look to the Middle Eastern, so-called. You have Saudi Arabia, which is the largest. Let me say this again. OPEC is an Arab league of nations that control oil prices, predominantly Arab, right? Saudi Arabia is the largest exporter of crude oil and oil products in the entire planet Earth. They now are going to try to push to trade in the yen, not in the U.S. dollar. We went over it last week about the early 1970s. All transactions out of Saudi Arabia and having to do with oil purchases were done in the U.S. dollar. That is slowly going away. Why? Because Brazil does all their transactions in the yen. France did a deal with Saudi Arabia. France did a deal with China. They didn't trade in the U.S. dollar. They traded in the Chinese dollar. Then you have Kazakhstan, which that was a scandal that was last year. Kazakhstan, huge country. Okay, go down to Iran. Iran again. China brokered a deal to have Iran and Saudi Arabia open up the embassies in one of this land. Then you have Afghanistan. That's ironic. Okay. Iraq is right next to them. Right. Iraq is right in the middle.
On the other side of Iran is Iraq.
Yes. Then you've got Indonesia and other countries here. So now, is there one more map, please? This is a review. So when we go to the next article, you're going to know why we're reviewing this. So now, there's Mexico. So Mexico was not on the other map, but it absolutely is interested in becoming a member. And also, which, if you look above the key, go to Egypt, Officer Gay, pardon me. Look right above that. This is a key country named Turkey. Turkey, remember the U.S. destabilized and created tensions with Syria, which is south of Turkey, and China created a peacekeeping between Syria and Turkey. That whole region is going to unite. Pardon me, it's going to unite. I'm tired, y'all. Is there any more? Or is that it? All right, let's go to the next article. We almost done, y'all. We got 2 more. Go to number. Let's just get right to the point. Go to number 6. Okay. Check this out. I want you to pull the world map up real quick while you get that if you can. And actually, get the map of NATO and then the world map. Something heavy is about to happen. And do me a favor, Ewan, get me the scripture. It says, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And it just came to me. Because the G20, G7 at large, D20, and the European Union are supposed to all be of one mind, right? Remember we said that. And you have to follow this to understand. If you never paid attention to this, you but what the hell is this guy talking about? Let's look at a map of, thank you. The current NATO members are in dark blue. So again, Hungary and Poland are a part of that. Those are the countries that pulled over the diplomatic party and broke up the South African president and their security force, okay? Look at all the NATO members. Then in light blue, these are the members that are looking to join, seeking NATO membership. Finland is interesting because they share a major long northern border with Russia. Belarus and Ukraine are not quite in. Turkey, remember, this is heavy. Turkey is a member of NATO. Turkey is going to be one of the ones interested in joining BRICS. Now, look at the size of Turkey, right? Now, I want you to look at the map. Just remember this map. Take in the dark blue countries. Take it in. Remember, the largest economies in this are the UK, France, Germany, and I think those are the biggest, maybe Spain. But definitely France, Germany, and the UK. Those are the biggest economies in the in the European Union, a.k.a. NATO. Okay. Now, go to the article. Sorry about that. I went the long route. We're going the long route because this is going to be the beginning of the unraveling of the European Union. Give me that scripture, please.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3 and verse 24.
Listen to this.
And if a kingdom be divided against itself.
NATO is a kingdom. NATO is a kingdom of nations run by the Emperor of the United States of America. Read on.
That kingdom cannot stand.
So eventually, NATO is going to break apart. And the EU is going to turn on the United States of America. Read on.
And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
How can it stand if one of the major players in that house is looking to get alliance with BRICS? Now, we're going to let this play for a little bit, and then we're going to transition to large back attack.
Of our lives, countries around the world have been following the lead of one superpower, the United States. But the world has changed significantly in recent years. The pandemic came and showed us just how interconnected our global supply chains are. When Russia invaded Ukraine, it showed us how even sanctioning just one country can have devastating effects on the entire world economy. Today, our world is multipolar. New alliances are being formed, global reserve currencies are changing, and if there's one certainty for the future, it's that no one wants to be single-handedly controlled by the United States. The BRICS alliance...
Pause. So this is what formed BRICS, which is China, or which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now they're creating their countries are telling them to buy more precious metals because we covered 2 weeks ago. They're coming in with the International Bank, which, by the way, is stationed in China, which they have a currency backed by precious metals. That is a trillions of dollars. And if they add Saudi Arabia in August, if Iran joins, if Argentina joins, if Mexico joins, if Turkey joins, so these are major players that are going to strengthen the economic machine behind BRICS. Okay? Officer Mikhail says you can't go to war unless you get your money right. So we never talked about any military action. They're just talking about the economic movement. This is a little dry, but you have to see what's going on behind the scenes to see what's coming ahead. Read on. Play on.
Uncertainty for the future. It's that no one wants to be single-handedly controlled by the United States. The BRICS alliance is gaining much momentum and is quickly becoming the key economic partnership that will change the future of our global landscape. Around 40% of the world currently lives in one of the 5 BRICS countries. The combined GDP of the BRICS...
Real quick. 40% of the world, 40% of the world lives in one of the 5 BRIC countries. There are 19 interested in either put in a written request and others who have not. Now it's up to 30. So what's going to happen is more than 2/3 of the world's population eventually are going to live in this BRICS countries. It's going to show you a little bit more. Play on.
Is already over $26 trillion. But the most fascinating part of BRICS is its next phase, global expansion. And if the latest headline comes true, it will be a shock to many Americans. One of our closest European allies...
This is the point of, this is why I showed the map. This is what I talked about NATO. This is the beginning. Who is this guy? This is the president of France. France is one of the most powerful, it is one of the leading economies in the world and one of the most powerful in the EU. And guess what? They brokered a deal with China, a major deal with China. They traded in the Chinese yuan, or yen, however you pronounce it. So he's going to say that France, and this has been confirmed by their prime minister, France now wants to be invited to the 2023 summit in South Africa to sit at the table with BRICS. So if France is going to do it, now remember, Brazil did it. Now Argentina's come by. Now Mexico wants to do it. Now you got Iran's interested. Now Iran has opened up an embassy in Saudi Arabia, the #1 oil producer on the planet Earth, Saudi Arabia. All these countries are coming aboard. Now France, a white country, because guess what? Satan's house is being divided. Okay, and this is why this is the beginning of it. You're going to see a time, maybe we'll see it in our lifetime, where the EU is going to continue to crumble. Why would he want to go there? Okay, let's play on.
The first European country to join the BRICS alliance. French President Macron has expressed interest in attending the upcoming BRICS summit, which is scheduled to take place in Durban, South Africa in late August. But how did France get here? And will they actually become the first EU member to join BRICS? If you've been following the moves of the French government the past few months, there have been some interesting trends that certainly seem to indicate the French alliance with the United States may not be as strong as the White House would like. The first event came in March of this year when France settled...
This is it. The first major event came in March of 2023, not 2022. So 3-4 months ago, China and France did a major deal. Let's listen.
Gas trade with China by using Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar. It might not sound like a major deal, but it was the first time a European ally sidelined the dollar and chose China's currency for cross-border transactions.
Guess who else does it right now? Brazil does it. Y'all gotta see. I'm telling y'all that we play on. I'm gonna show up my words. Play on.
Small either, as France purchased 65,000 tons of LNG gas and recorded the first UN-settled trade through the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange. The next event from the French government sent shockwaves through the United States, when Macron personally visited Beijing and said the following: Europe cannot blindly follow the United States' lead and should avoid getting dragged into crises that are not our own.
Pause. You want to know why he's saying that? Because the people of France had like a doggone revolution. They had protests in the streets, and they claimed it was, the teachers didn't get their pensions. No, these people are being affected. The commodities are shooting through the roof. When you cut off the fairly inexpensive oil and resources from Russia, well, guess what? China is able to buy it. They landlocked. Now European economies is in recession. Remember, 2 successive quarters counts as a recession. We did that 2-3 weeks ago. What does that mean? That means that the people of Europe realize that the U.S. is behind their misery. You got to see this. Okay, play on. We're getting ready to close out, y'all. We're getting ready to transition to Laura back at tech.
course refers to the ongoing battle between the US and China over Taiwan, but also extends to other important issues, including the dollar debt crisis. Macron called for Europe to resist the pressures of becoming American followers and end reliance on the US dollar for trade. Now, when you look back at the French purchase of natural gas in Chinese yuan, one can see the bigger picture. Many analysts are also expecting Saudi Arabia to join the BRICS alliance, and its addition would all but solidify the BRICS alliance as the key energy and commodity producers in the world. As we know,
we're going to close with that. You have to understand something. If more than half the people are going to live in these BRICS nations, and the resources, the mineral resources, the oil resources, if they control them, guess what? The beginning of the U.S. dollar. That's when the Bishop Nathaniel talked about how the U.S. is not going to allow but so much to happen. That's when they're going to change the way we do things here. They're already starting with some places you go to, you can't even pay with cash anymore. It's slowly going to that where eventually you may have a social credit score. And remember, I think it was one of the classes Bishop did where it can make it where your account will have to go through your account. It will go up to the federal government level. Then it has to, you could be at Walmart going to pay for some food. It's not going to go right to Walmart. Eventually it'll go up and then it's got to come back within seconds. And if they can take things and find out of they're doing in other countries right now. So a social credit score you can be fined for. These are things the U.S. is going to do because they're not going to, as much as BRICS tries, the U.S. has too much power. They're not going to let it happen. And eventually what happens is these white people become affected in the EU. They're going to rise up, and there's going to be the split that the EU is going to turn on the United States of America. And we're seeing it right now. Y'all stay tuned. Look at France. Look at these other European countries that are going to begin to follow what France is doing. It starts with this. The U.S. is downplaying it. This is a big deal. So with that, y'all, a little bit dry. I understand that. Go ahead.
I want to land back off of something you said, Cap, with the France turning their back. Pull up that article real quick. We're just going to read the heading of it. France, what they did, what U.S. did, they had a submarine deal with, I believe it was Australia, a $90 billion deal. Y'all got it yet? And the U.S. snaked them right there. Read that real quick.
We felt fooled. France still furious after Australia scraps $90 billion submarine deal.
And who came in and scooped it up? It was America that came in and scooped it up. So they really took that deal off their hands. But France never forgot that happened in 2021. And it's a lot of countries that U.S. went behind their back and did stuff like that. Took money from their hands. Took money from behind their back. So just keep that in mind.
You didn't know? That's how the U.S. roll, bro.
That's some heavy stuff. And y'all got to understand that the people in Europe who are suffering, who now cannot go out to dinner anymore, for them, that's a big deal. And oil prices through the roof. And now you cut off the pipeline. These economies are officially in recession. And France showed like a 0.002% growth. They're one of the next countries that's on par to be in recession. This guy is an Edomite, but he's like, look, my country is a history. And I got to keep my country afloat. Listen, and he's going to be the ones that step out. Remember, Germany was having talks before. We covered that in another show. So be mindful, y'all. Be mindful. Be mindful. We're going to continue to cover this. Those of you who don't know a lot about this, you should look at other news outlets. Look at the Al Jazeera. Look at the Hindu Times. Look at these non-Caucasian reporting networks. Look at other networks outside of the U.S. to get your news. With that, Lord back attack. Stay with us, y'all. I know it's late. Shalom. Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom, y'all. Welcome. It's late, y'all. I know it's past midnight in New York. Thank you for sticking with us. Now's the segment of the show where some people are going to get offended. Let me start by saying this. If you want to have a heart attack, have a stroke, get diabetes too, and other ailments, you might as well just log off now. if you don't care about your health, if you like seeing lard asses walk around you or obese and morbidly obese, and you're just fine with that because it's not you, then you probably don't want to watch this part. Give me Sirach 30:25. I'm going to keep hitting you with the same scriptures, and then we're going to tough love, and then we're going to make fun of some fat people.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 25. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
Some brothers and sisters, you are so far gone, you're so damn depressed that we have to have a care for you because you don't let yourself go to the point where it's obviously you don't care. If we love our neighbors, if I ever get fat as Gabe, or if I ever get fat as some of you Lord, please blast the hell out of me. Fat shame the hell out. Please, please. Okay? That shows that you would love me. Okay? Play on. Read on.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
Read on. Okay, give me Sirach 38, verse 1 and then 4.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 1.
There's an old expression that food is your medicine, and that is so accurate. Read.
Honor a physician with the honor due unto him.
Now, the physicians of old, before the modern day pharmaceutical era, would heal people with a thing the man called the apothecary. He had certain herbs, resins, and balms and oils that could heal Israel. And by the way, all synthetic drugs, whether it's Zoloft or hydrochlorothiazide or amlodipine, any of these statins, these blood pressure medications, all of them have a derivative of a plant-based root. It's much cheaper to produce at a synthetic level. So before all the powdered pills came, it was based upon medicines that came from the ground. And you can look that up too. Read on.
Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him.
Right. So then, I'm not saying for you lard asses to run away from your doctor. I'm saying that the next part is going to show you that if the doctors were doing the job right and teaching people about food and how to eat right, a lot of they wouldn't have to prescribe medicines. Read on.
For the Lord had created him.
Right. And the Lord created these doctors. Read on.
Verse 4. The Lord had created medicines out of the earth.
So if you understand that your medicine comes from the earth and you follow these scriptures, you can reverse your disease. I'm not saying stage 4 cancer, stage 5. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your hypertension. I'm talking about your obesity. I'm talking about your diabetes too. I'm talking about your insulin resistance. I'm talking about the things that you can control. Read on.
And he that is wise will not abhor them.
You say you're an Israelite? You say you're wise, meaning you follow the scriptures and you keep his commandments and you understand the commandments? Read on.
That's it on that.
He that is what?
And he that is wise will not abhor them.
So don't hate God's advice. Sirach 31, verse 12, and then jump to 16.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 31 and verse 12. If thou sit at a bountiful table.
The whole thing now, this is going into food. It's talking about a table. You sit down and there's a whole bunch of, it's a feast. You sit down at a table. Read on.
Be not greedy upon it.
See, that's the word I wanted to get to. If you are 10 to 15 pounds or your ass is greedy. Okay? If you 50 pounds overweight and you're obese or morbidly obese, you greedy to the 25th power, you disgusting fat back lard ass. It's a first-rate problem. Show me some poor fat lard. Show me some fat lard asses in Chad. Show me some lard asses in Pakistan. So you must be super rich if you're fat in them countries. You Israelites here in Babylon, you spoiled as hell. You have a first-rate problem. You're a victim of your own weak-ass mind. Yeah, the foods that they give us are crap. I get it. But if you eat less and you measure your food, you can spend a little bit more money to buy quality foods. So eat one meal a day, you lard asses. Read on.
Be not greedy upon it, and say
I
not.
hear now, you're not going to win them over by calling them a lard ass. You have to try tough. We tried that crap, that nice stuff. It don't work. Fat people are disgusting. You need to lose the weight, and I got a plan for you lard asses. Play on.
Be not greedy upon it, and say not.
Right. You fat back lard asses are greedy. That's why your gut is the size of a first and second trimester woman with a baby in there. Read on.
There is much meat on it.
Right? Lard asses are like, whoo, I know I just ate a 2-for-5 Whopper combo, but there's more food over there. Might as well eat more. Read on.
Verse 16. Eat as it becometh a man.
You men got to set the order in the nation. The men, I'm going to keep talking about it. You men control what happens to you. You lead by example, and then your house follows. Read it again.
Eat as it becometh a man.
Come on.
Those things which are set before thee.
If you're the man of your house and you decide, look, I'm a fat, disgusting, not me, I'm ripped, I'm not a lard ass like you lard asses. Shout out to Severus. You lard backs, he's losing his weight. He's down to a smooth, I think, 332 now. Not bad, okay? We need to get on each other. Read on.
And devour not.
And if you got to 335 pounds, you have been a devourer of cheeseburgers, Pop-Tarts, every other friggin', you should weigh 235, you're 100 pounds overweight. You wonder why people make fun of you, lard backs. Read on.
And devour not, lest thou be hated.
Now, we are going to go into switch up the gears of the lard back attack. We got off the serious tip, and by the way, before we go to the videos, we got 5 of them. Let me say this. I'm talking about a problem. Here's a solution. Number 1, talk to your doctor. A lot of you white doctors, go get permission from the devil, your white doctor. Go get permission from the doctor. Maybe you have an East Indian doctor, I don't know. And ask them if it's okay for you to do this. Get permission from them. You can blame them. If you are overweight, obese, or morbidly obese, try this. Work your way down from 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day. And in this 1 meal, you're going to cut your carbs. Check with your doctor first. This is an example. You have a bunch of vegetable matter. Say here, for example, an avocado, a whole bunch of Brussels sprouts, some cruciferous vegetables, a lot of that, right? Then you will have a piece of some hard-boiled eggs or some scrambled eggs. You can put some grass-fed butter on there, or a piece of salmon, piece of lawful fish, or grass-fed beef, some sort of quality protein with the fat in the protein. Then, after that, for dessert, you lard bears can have some berries. And that's it. Eat the same doggone type of meal. It's called healthy keto. 1 meal a day. Eat nothing else throughout the day. You can have water with some salt, some electrolyte powders. 1 meal a day. If you get the hungers, you lard bears. Take a little bit of pink salt and put it in your mouth and drink some water. And shut the hell up. If you do that, you will lose all the weight. Every single one of you. Make me sick. Okay? Read it again.
Eat as it becometh a man.
And here's the thing. We've had multiple success stories. A lot of brothers have lost 150. Fat Mark, shout out to Fat Mark. He's over 250 pounds down and counting. Other brothers have lost, many brothers have lost 50, 60 pounds. Hey, the skinny rapper now with the Sons of Thunder. Forget his name. I always get the name screwed up. Gedaliah is the shorter one. We kept Gedaliah. That brother lost almost 50 pounds. The man almost had to get hip surgery. Lost almost 50 pounds. The guy feels great. Talk to him about it. We have other lard bears that lost 150 pounds. They feel better. Read on. Hey, Elkanah, another lard back rapper. He's down 50-something pounds. You can't recognize the guy anymore. He lost a big, fat, disgusting gut. Now he's getting ripped. 20 pounds to go. That's it. Read on.
Eat as it becometh a man.
I'm giving you real stories. Read on.
Those things which are set before thee.
And you as a man got to control. You know what? I am overweight. I have a problem. It's a first-rate problem. I'm going to set myself in order. As a result of that, I'm going to tell my wife what I need her to feed, what she needs to eat and what my children need to eat. But how can I dictate their health if I'm walking around looking like a disgusting lard bear? I got to fix me so I can go to them and get them in order. Now we fix my house. Now we go on and we start fixing the whole nation. Do you realize if we actually apply these things in 1 year, listen to me, about 75 to 80% of you, 3/4 or more of us in IUIC in 1 year, if you just follow, get permission from your doctor first, okay? Obesity could be eradicated in 1 year. Now, you super fat gut-gutted lard backs that are 150 pounds or more, you might require like a year and a half. And you big, giant, beluga elephant lard back like Fat Mark, okay, who lost 250, he's going to need a couple more years, okay? But he's going to get ripped. and you watch. Shout out to Fat Mark. You know, Mark, you know I love you, bro, right? I'm going to keep getting on your ass. Now, read on. We're almost done.
And devour not,
Okay.
lest thou be hated.
Right, and this is the part of the show that makes my week. Now we're going to make fun of lord asses. And yes, if you get, you really shouldn't be talking down. Well, then go join the NAAFP, National Advancement for the Association of Fat People. Lard asses, play the role. Now, wait, real quick. So now, let me set the stage. This is a pedicurist who is complaining about a lard back in her chair. I think this may be staged. There's a young woman who has a great ideology, meaning that she has altruism. She believes in standing up for the rights of others. Listen to the pedicurist stand her ground. Play.
Just be careful moving around so much, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Do you know how much it costs to replace these chairs? Like, we're very nervous when people your size come in the building. They cost a lot.
Jessica Moore struggles to contain her disgust.
Like, this is a workout. I hate when my boss makes me do fat people's legs.
But that comment finally tips the scale.
I'm very sorry, but that is very to say. I am 18 years old, and I think that's cool, and you should not be doing that.
Do you see how much work this is?
Well, are you kidding me? It's your job.
Yeah, but it's a lot more.
I understand that, but it's your job. You should not be complaining, and if you are, keep it to yourself, because everyone in this room can hear what you're saying to this lady.
Like, but really, why are you getting involved anyway?
Because I can see that you're upsetting her, and I actually care about people's feelings, and I'm going, because she's not going to say things, so I'll say something.
Wow. Give that woman, that pedicurist, a round of applause. She's fat shame. That lard ass in that chair should have got that her whole life. As soon as she gained her first 5 pounds of lard, somebody should have talked to her like that. And this shows you the weak liberal mindset of this a bunch of weirdos who's standing for fat. You all should shame her. Get her to lose some weight because she's morbidly obese, 100 pounds overweight. Next video, please. I will not lower my voice. Fat shaming is good for lard asses. It's not acceptable to be fat, you lard asses, okay? Now, I have some experience with this. Not because I was a lard ass, but I've stood in front of men like this. This is the United States. Somebody sent me this. United States Marine Corps. In this office, it's probably a gunnery sergeant. I don't know who it is, a master sergeant. And these are PFCs, and I think they might be 5 or 10 pounds overweight. This is how the Marine Corps deals with you fat back lord asses. Play.
You get fucking fat in this fucking institution, right? Fucking 0 fucks given as a fucking PFC.
Basically, they're getting cussed out. Now, he's kind of ripped, right? But he's got a little pudge gut, right? So because of the little bit of overweight, he's putting the fear of God, if you will, into these guys by cussing, and they can't break rank. They are locked. PFC is the second rank. You got a private and a PFC, and they are standing at friggin' attention, looking straight ahead, not friggin' moving their eyes, blah, 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 and they're getting cussed out because one of them or two of them are lard asses. And they don't look it, but they are, because they have Marine Corps very high standards. The point is, none of these guys will get fat. They will get shipped the hell out. Here's the point. We need a system set up where you soldiers on up, okay? You're not allowed to get fat. And this is why I'm a capitalist. Listen, I will derank all you lard asses, okay? You're ridiculous. I know I'm being a little bit overboard, but here's the deal. You should not, give me good soldier in Christ. Enduring hardness means you can eat 1 meal a day, lard bear, lose all the weight. Cue the next video while we wait for the scripture. I'm a little overboard, I get it. Play.
2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3.
I'm being led to say this right now because some of you at home are getting offended. Fat people are disgusting, horrible people, and you lard asses need to lose all the weight. Go ahead.
thou therefore endure hardness.
So you mad because I'm telling you that fat shaming should be a constitutional right of all men in this country? Yes! You're disgusting, and fat people should be ashamed of themselves to walk out of the block. Thank the Lord for structural engineers and concrete specialists. Play on. Read on.
As a good soldier of Jesus Christ.
So some of us in this body look, well, let me just say this. This man, again, is it Yamaha Suzuki? The engineers are freaking amazing. These guys, Monroe makes a hell of a shock. I don't know who the hell. Nobel Peace Prizes need to be given out tonight. Play a video of the morbidly obese super fat bear lard bear who is proud to be fat.
Like a Raptor 700, bro. Is it fast?
A Raptor 700? Dude, that's sissy stuff. This is a Polaris 350, bro. Dude, this thing is hotter than a $5 pizza. Dude, I fit all kind of women on this thing. If she ain't 280...
Pause. If that is the case, I would venture to bet that those shocks are made of plutonium, because that man is a smooth 408 pounds. And he's about to mention the weight of some of the lovely mamas that ride on his 350. Again, shout out to the structural engineers of the Quad Runner. Play.
Thing. If she ain't 280, she ain't a lady.
If she's 280, okay, she is super morbidly obese. Some of these women who are if you're 200 pounds, you are a disgusting whale-good lard ass. This guy is 408. He's got a woman. If she ain't 280, she ain't a lady. This crap is accepted now. Lizzo and these other fat people that are, don't fat shame, embrace your natural fat, disgusting curves. That lard back has got 3 cell phones under his left friggin' man boob. Okay, look at it. Play on.
She ain't a win. And if she got a double chin, give her to a friend. Dude, I'll be always riding, dude. Ain't no telling what I'm going to get into.
You know what he's not going to get into? Some cruciferous vegetables. That's what he's not going to get into. You thought it would stop there? Contraire, mon frere. Cue the next video. We're almost done. Now, I want to look at this. You thought that sports, let's look at an ancient picture of early sports. It shows these women shooting on the prone position on some city. I want to show you a picture of a lard back in a baseball uniform. Play on.
2 young women belonging to the Lions Rifle Club practicing on the roof of
Piccadilly's
Piccadilly's
they're not shooting at a lard ass. That's not what we're playing this. Because the lard ass is too big of a target. Okay, play on.
Corner house in 1935. A woman choosing taboo perfume from a coin-operated
I'm just showing you
perfumatic
that this is taking place a long time ago. So America is the home of lardbacks. This is where we learn to become fat in this country. Okay?
machine in 1952. 2 severely burned British soldiers of the Royal Armoured Command share a smoke on D-Day in 1944.
Pause! This is what we wanted to come to. You want to know why we learn to become fat lard asses? Following Esau. Get me Proverbs 3:31. You lard asses. If you're a lard back, guess what? You're saying that you love Esau. You love the white man if you're fat. Period. We learn to become fat from this guy, our oppressor. It's the food that they give us is garbage. But again, eat less of it. Play. Right, read.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
We're going to hear about this, how fat this oppressor really is. Read on.
And choose none of his ways.
If you brothers who are, especially you brothers in purple, who are lardbacks, you are choosing the way of your oppressor. Now, I'm telling you right now, we are not designed to eat the amount of times we eat, and that's how these people roll. Show me pictures of fat black people in 1940. Show it to me. Show me them. We followed him. Now, let's hear a little bit about this fatback lard bear. Play.
Baseball player of the time, weighing over 450 pounds in 1908.
Wait a minute. So this is back to 1908? 450 pounds of fat, blubber, and lard. Again, we learned this from our oppressors. This is a first-rate problem that the Israelites need to come out of. I'm telling you, you go ahead and catch you a heart attack, a stroke, or a doggone diabetes. You brothers and sisters need to lose the weight. Okay? Next video. I ain't apologizing either. Come on. Okay, Paul, this is, shout out to Captain Shemaiah. Captain Shemaiah, #1 radio show, Patient Saints. My brother, Captain Shemaiah, from New York. Listen to this. This is Peter Shatner. So if you need Star Trek, if you need Jim, damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor. If you need, what's the guy's name? What's his name on Star Trek? No, but what's his name? Damn it, Jim. Jim was his name, right? Damn, nobody's old in this room. Anyways, Peter Shatner was the guy, the main character of Star Trek. He was the top guy. He now is at a board meeting where they're trying to fire Lard back. And he's using some wonderful study from Harvard University to justify why this Lardback has got to be let go. Yes. Let's play on. Look at, and she's a mini Lardback. Nonetheless, Peter Shatner is using great wisdom and cites a Harvard study. Play.
Right to fire her because she was fat.
And still is. I thought I had the right to fire people who jeopardize my health.
How does her weight jeopardize your health?
According to studies at Harvard, you've heard of Harvard, obesity can spread like a contagious disease. That's not my opinion, that's Harvard's.
But I wasn't too fat for you to hit on.
Well, no, because I like chubby sex, but I never asked you to dinner.
Did you hear that?
I only heard ka-ching, ka-ching.
I have nothing against the Chinese, Denny.
So are you firing all the heavy people at Crane, Poole, and Schmidt?
Well, I had to start someplace. I started with her.
Ka-ching.
And let's just suppose, say, my client did agree to have sex with you.
Too late, I've moved on.
Would you have fired her had she not rejected you?
I fired her because, according to the Harvard studies, the social influence of fat people can be just as damaging as genetics. I tried to explain that to your client, but her ears were too stuffed with Twinkies.
Pause. So now, I have a new law that I'm instituting for myself to protect myself from you lard asses. Anytime I see a lard bear, I will now Wi-Fi shalom you from a distance because I don't want your obesity affecting my health. Shout out to William Shatner. Great wisdom in a Harvard study. I actually was told that last weekend in Austin by a very mighty man in Israel, that obesity can spread like the plague. Be careful. I'm not saying you can't salute. I'm just choosing for my own health not to salute. So resident Lardback, Gabe, and Asa, I will no longer be saluting you. It will be a Wi-Fi salute from now this point forward. Again, Harvard studies protecting my health. Play the video again. We're all tired. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor. Let Star Trek, the main, we grew up with this guy. If he says it's got to be right. We have fat tech team. They're all Resident Lardback Gabe and Resident Lardback Asa. You can't hear it right now, but our Akim, our coordinate, is dictating, and I'm not sure. Okay, again,
because she was fat.
And still is. I thought I had the right to fire people who jeopardize my health.
How does her weight jeopardize your health?
According to studies at Harvard, you've heard of Harvard, obesity can spread like a contagious disease. That's not my opinion, that's Harvard's.
But I wasn't too fat for you to hit on.
Well, no, because I like chubby sex, but I never asked you to dinner.
Did you hear that?
I only heard ka-ching, ka-ching.
I have nothing against the Chinese, Denny.
So are you firing all the heavy people at Crane, Poole, and Schmidt?
Well, I had to start someplace. I started with her.
Ka-ching.
And let's just say my client did agree to have sex with you.
Too late, I've moved on.
Would you have fired her had she not rejected you?
I fired her because, according to the Harvard studies, the social influence of fat people can be just as damaging as genetics.
You hear that?
Explain that.
The social influence of fat people can be just as dangerous as genetics, meaning the spreading of diseases. So, what is the moral of the story? Be careful. Obesity can spread. So me personally, I'm just saying me, I will no longer be saluting lard backs except for it's a Wi-Fi shalom to protect my health. According to Harvard studies, Harvard is an institution of great reputation. Next video, and we're going to close out. All right. Now, all that being said, making fun of fat people takes a lot of work. It's fun. It's a great time. You brothers and sisters who are morbidly obese and overweight, you are choosing to do so. Every one of you can lose the weight. Talk to your doctor about eating programs. I recommend that you talk to your doctor. 1 meal a day, healthy keto. Check. It's all over the internet. Lard asses are losing weight all over the place. You see video after video. If you need someone in the world to use their story, whatever, you can do it. So I'm not going to let up. I'm going to keep fat shaming. I'm going to keep talking about health until every one of us in IUIC, we're going to get to the goal, and we're going to show the rest, blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, that we are the leaders in health because we have the Bible to support us and bring us to that level. It's late. We're signing off. You lard asses are disgusting, horrible people, but you don't have to be. With that, we say shalom.
All right. Give alms. To give at your local school, drop an envelope in the alms box. To give online via PayPal at iuic.neworleans@israelunite.org. To give to the Booster Club via PayPal, iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. Support, support, support. All right. Land fund. You heard the bishop this past Passover, all right? Send more. We need more donations. We need our own land. Let's make it happen, Israel. Send your donation via PayPal. Make sure you put land in the notes. How? PayPal, email, Israel@israelunite.org. Label it land.
Hey, shalom. Thank you, Israel, for sticking around. I know it's a late night. Subscribe to IUIC New Orleans, our YouTube page. We're on the path to 20,000 subscribers. Let us know what you shout out to Fat Mark, keep losing the weight, my brother. Shout out to Gigs. Shout out to my sister Sharon. Shout out to the sisters and brothers who send us content. We want to improve. We know that we're striving to be a better show. Let us know. Constructive criticism is always welcome. I know it can be dry sometimes, but we're giving you news that the mainstream won't give. So with that, we're precept upon precept, and with that we say
shalom.
Shalom, Israel.
Judah blood. I see. Look, I see mansions in the kingdom. I see hunters slaying demons. I see fire on this earth coming down like Hiroshima. I see prophets rising up, prophesying scriptures cut. I see Christ, he coming